Is this actually season 4 that we're starting off with today? Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah.
Have we been at this for 3 years?
You must have been as surprised as I am, because I asked the question twice because it doesn't add up to me, but it still does. It is season 4, the kickoff episode. We are back, despite what you've heard. We have not. We took a hiatus. I know most people were thinking, "Man,
We were
it was a
canceled.
good run, right?" Yeah,
We had fun.
yeah. But no, we are back, and I was excited to get started. We started today with one of our good friends, Jeff Isabel, if you know him, our president here at Energy WorldNet.
It's a
And
great
he told us, and I know he wouldn't be upset about it, me saying it, but he said, I really enjoy spending time with you two. And not a lot of people say that, Jimmy. So I'm here to say and document it. No. And Jeff's one of those folks, and like so many, he's been on the show, and he's a good friend. But when we get together and get to talking, it's just we pick up where we left off, and it almost feels like we're on the show.
Well, yeah, and the key to it is those relationships that Triad, Jeff, you and I mean, it goes back years. It actually started even before I joined Energy WorldNet, and morphed and grew and changed and enhanced, but at the core of it is still our friendship relationship that drives so much. And that's not a negative or any way to say that it's a friendship. That's a positive in my world. You know, our world is based on relationships.
Yeah, it was a good on-ramp for today, and then seeing this on the schedule and knowing we were going to be recording the first episode in 2023.
Can you believe that?
4th season.
Sounds like a futuristic sci-fi movie, 2023.
And don't worry, guys. I know there's a bunch of people wincing right now thinking we're going to tell the origin story of this show, but we're not. Well, that's our goal this year. We're not telling that story.
2020.
No, if you don't, go back. There's plenty of content. We don't even know what episode this is. That's how we're going to roll. We're going to go with what's in front of us and roll. But looking ahead today and seeing this one, it's something special.
Definitely.
3 years in almost. I think we're coming in a couple months. It'll be 3 years. 4 seasons. It's what a blessing to be here. And Jimmy, when we were talking about it a little bit, we were joking about, not getting canceled and whatnot, but we challenged each other and talked about, and I jumped the gun a little bit, Jimmy, but we're just going to roll.
Hey, man.
But why are you back, Jimmy, for season 4?
Because you told me I had to, and I guess I'm here.
That's fair.
No.
Coleman told us both we better get back out there. We've been
nose to the grindstone.
Hiatus? No.
Yeah, I mean, the hiatus was one of the first ones we've taken that gave us a lot of time to reflect. And when I really think about, Coffee with Jim and James, honestly, first and foremost, the things that drive me, that get me excited going, is that one text message I get. Maybe it's a chat, maybe it's an email, a phone call, where somebody says, that was cool, that made a difference, that helped me. Just that affirmation that what we're doing, what we're sharing is making an impact. We've
had a lot of that. We've had a lot of that, thankfully. I mean, it's a lot better than the alternative, right? Nobody talking about it or it not landing. But I'll tell you, for me, Jimmy, why I'm back for season 4. And it would be awkward if one of us didn't come back, like that. Coffee with
Blank and James.
It'd be like 2 personalities. I guess it'd still work, right? I mean, you could play yourself and James. But for me, I'm having fun doing what I'm doing.
Good.
I love the podcast. I love seeing it when, we don't record every single week. We've been honest about that. And when we're coming back, we're going to bring back old episodes, make it where we have less episodes next year, but we're really leaning into the content. But man, I'm loving it. I love when I see it on my schedule and it's time to record again. I love the live events, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, man. I don't think I have as much fun as when we are doing the live show. It's spontaneous. You never know who you're going to catch and what's going to happen. There's so much innovation out there. I love bringing those stories to folks. I love honing our craft.
Yeah.
We got to speak here recently. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but you and I got to work a lot together to hone in a keynote. And what we realized was it wasn't as hard now because of the work we've put in every day on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Talking, as silly as it sounds, having conversations with people, building relationships, pulling that value out of what they're trying to say and sharing it with folks has made us better at our craft. There's something about reps, right? You're just doing the reps. But it's something I enjoy waking up to and wanting to do. And man, I don't know about you, but that's where my heart is coming into season 4.
No, absolutely, 100%. And again, it's that feedback. And you mentioned doing a keynote, which was an unbelievable experience that we got to experience in December at the Alabama Pipeline Safety Conference. And how often do you go to a keynote and there's 2 presenters? Not often. Usually one. And so I think they were being brave, the team over there by saying, hey.
I remember how they started off the whole thing, Jimmy? They said, well, we've never done this before.
Roll the dice, right?
And Jimmy and I were over there going, us either. No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, but really, okay, we really haven't. 1, 2, I guess maybe in the virtual world, we got a little bit accustomed to doing things in tandem and then taking it live in front of folks and in front of 340 some odd people there to a packed room. I mean, that was fun. And it was interesting too, is that we were really hitting so many people or impacting and interacting with so many people at that point, new people to the industry, as well as veterans like myself, that whole spectrum. And you're in the middle.
And this falls into what you were talking about earlier, that feedback, that validation from the industry that they, number one, they're listening, they're watching the show. They're learning about new tech, they're learning about new services and vendors, they're learning about best practices, whatever it is, training, safety, all that being covered. Some of that validation is when those folks reach out to you and say, I see you, I saw you today, right? And we had, go ahead. I know you.
I was going to say, Erin McKay, the compliance lady, was at the conference. And we ran into her. We were talking, we're chatting. And then I ran into her at the airport. We were at the Montgomery airport. We were taking off. She was heading back to Alaska. I'm heading to Florida. And she's like, just so you know, I've been working on a podcast. And you guys kind of said yesterday at your keynote, just get started. Just do it, She goes, I'm going to do it. And lo and behold, within a week, I think she had that done. And
by Friday, she sent us an email. It was super kind. We've ran into Erin at different events. I mean, we have a lot of overlap, right? Yeah, we were just at LGA side by side, I think, there at that event. And so anyway, it was so sweet, her reaching out, and she's like almost asking permission, even though who are we to give anyone permission? We were so excited to hear from her. And honestly, Jim, I know this is where both of us are headed, is it validated exactly what we were trying to say in the keynote, and it helped us to feel that keynote landed. In person, we got a lot of validation from folks that were there, attended the keynote, came up to us immediately and talked to us and said, wow, this resonated, or this is going on at my organization. And you got to understand, we're talking about thought leadership and culture and, a little more touchy-feely maybe than the normal, with some awesome folks in Alabama, and it landed so much so that someone said, I did it. I went out and did it. Man,
that's what drives.
That's what we're doing.
That's what I was talking about, is that you get that person that gives that reflection on themselves, saying that we made a difference to help them do whatever it is, safe or best practice, whatever.
100%
driver.
And we'll talk about that more, but shout out to those folks at the Alabama PSC. Man, longtime friends with Randall Hand over there. of the organization. So many of us working with him. I know you've known him. Jonathan over there just doing great things.
Jackie.
Jackie behind the scenes. I don't know how that works. By proxy, doing awesome things. I want to just say we had intended to record there while we were there. We were keynoting the whole conference. So we were the first ones on the agenda the first day. I had some death in the family and had to travel back. And I felt so at home there, even in the day and a half I think I was there. Not only that, I was having some back issues too. And we powered through it, and everybody was so accommodating and awesome, and we pulled it off. And then I had to bail, and so we had to pull the plug on recording there in Alabama. But everyone was so supportive, wanted us 100%. To come back. I mean, I know that, of course, what else was anybody going to say, right? But in the short time that we were there,
they said that they would have been upset had you stayed and not gone to be with your family.
Yeah.
You know, and that's family. That's
the kind of group. I think we made an impact there, and it sounds like we're going to have a long relationship with those folks. So, happy. I love the event. Wow. So not to do all that. That was good stuff. But again, validation for some of the work that we've been doing. Jimmy, how about in the same week, Jim France is sending us that painting, and maybe we can get somebody to throw it up on the screen.
Yeah. A Picasso, man. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You were there last week in the office, and so you got to, put your hands on it. The level of detail Jim did. The thing that, and Jeff, again, call out to Jeff Isabel. He was in there with us, and he goes, it's one thing to send some swag to someone, but a painting, like, there's a good chance Jim spent 50 hours on that paint. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number. I don't have a clue.
Oh, it looked like.
Tell us, Jim. Tell us in the comments. Yeah, I mean, like, he had to stare at our mugs that long, but he thought about us, and it hit me. I'm not kidding. I teared up when I got it and undid it because I knew the story, that he shared of why he even started painting on the show. Yeah. So it was just that coupled with Aaron starting the podcast. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
It validates what we hope. We making one impact out there every time we're doing enough.
We can keep going. I mean, we talked about a lot of these things in the pregame that, with the PSMS group and some of the collaborations that we've had with.
We made a shout out of the year, like whatever that. Like he put out his first kind of publication of the recap and everything going on from his vantage point in that group. And we made the recap.
Like, yeah.
What's happening? What is live? How about the Colonel having us on? I mean, Freedom to Fuel was just on as well. Even that screenshot.
New podcasts. They're doing great. They are, as Chris Isaacson would say, killing it. Yeah.
So them supporting us there, again, validation, being able to be on some of those podcasts and hearing from those folks. Again, just the reason we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? How about all the work with the associations we did this past year?
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, think about it. LGA was unbelievable. Remember that one?
One of the best.
SPA, APGA, OGA, TGA. What am I missing?
OGA. You weren't there at OGA, but me and Crow.
No, I wasn't. We had a guest host, Jason Crow.
Yeah, I mean, that's we have a show with legs enough that we can have a sub guest pop in and still bring the show from somewhere. We got AGA coming up this year.
Oh, big one.
And we're hoping to do some stuff to bring some of that event home. I believe we're going to be speaking there as well. We'll bring the show live. It's just going to see what type of involvement there. So we're excited. That's right in our backyard here in DFW. So we're going to be strong at AGA. Be warned.
Looking forward to it.
Be warned.
May will be here soon.
Jimmy, I got a planning meeting for AGA coming up, like this week or next week. It's good stuff.
We have a big space there too, don't we? Have a 20 by 20?
Yeah, we're pretty strong there.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a blast. Hopefully, be bringing in some of our partners, some of our friends in the industry to.
Oh, we will.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Jimmy, there's been a presence that maybe we don't talk about a lot on the show here, but again, we're talking about 3 years of work now, starting our fourth season. Internally within the EWN, we've had a ton of support.
Without a doubt.
In ways that I don't think you and I originally intended, and they're kind of coming to fruition now. In fact, we're recording something after this that supports our 7 Habits program, our training program within the company. We're a big 7 Habits organization. Yep. And as you know, Jimmy and I put together a 7 Habits series episode, I don't know, season 2. I don't know, I just made that up. But we started that and had a lot of traction there. And so what we've done is we've always had that program, and now we are giving that as some of the material for folks going through that program. Just free of charge, man, free of charge.
Well, and really, James, though, when you think about 7 Habits, that was kind of the launching pad for you and I with Coffee, Jim, and James to leave the comfort of the nuts and bolts of the energy industry and to go into this area of culture, thought, leadership, and such like that. And I tell you, I think back to, you talk about the support of Energy WorldNet and the unprecedented support that they give us, and really the teams. When you think of the designers, when you look at logos, when you think of the intros, when you look at all those things, the marketing, the people that are behind the scenes putting this on to the platforms. To me, if it wasn't for them, this would not happen.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to them. Huge.
Mucking through some of the live events where there really isn't. I mean, this is going to sound bad because, Jimmy, we're not that technical compared to our design people, but when we're out there, we do the best we can, and sometimes we get back and they're like, this audio is terrible. Or, y'all look like Oompa Loompas, in its lighting or whatever, right? And so we do the best we can, but they do the magic behind the scenes. And then, honestly, our brand team just keeps it on rails, period.
100%.
Every one of the folks on that side have kept the show together. And our audience, our other teams within EWN support us so much by sharing our content. Just this week, Jim, I had to pull 2 different episodes for people in the industry that reached out to me that said, didn't y'all have someone on for X, Y, Z, right? And didn't y'all do this? And that tells me that people are listening, and a little bit of validation. So it's easy to start season 4 this year, if that makes sense. It's easy. And last year it was a little bit more. I remember this time, Jim, we were debating on if that was going to be our last season.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Is the mustard off the hot dog? Yeah, that's what you said. Exactly.
But I think this year, especially with the hiatus, which is really great for us to give us time to reflect, you and I together as well as individually,
and to refresh.
Refresh, and the idea that this year, let's go at it deeper. Let's bring things from the industry that are deeper to the audience that could be more impactful, whether it's best practices, safety culture, whatever the case is. There's going to be many different topics, and not necessarily, and we know. And we've already told folks that weekly, every week, that's a full-time job for us to do this show every week. But to go, maybe every 2 weeks, but then to go deeper into subjects that we hope are really impactful for the betterment of our industry, that's exciting for me. And that's very, I hate to say it, but that's very strategic in our thought process that, let's take what we're doing and give the best to the industry.
Yeah, I think at first it was about quantity, to be
sure
honest.
It was.
We had a lot of people that wanted to be on to tell their stories, honestly, because we couldn't get out, right? And so we were inundated with requests, and we wanted to take care of everybody, fulfill everything. Yeah. Now, as we've settled in, the sustainability of it is that we do need to focus more on quality and the live events. We want to be sure to be able to bring those there. But, we've kind of made some goals for ourselves when it comes to, when you say deeper into the industry. And one of mine is tech. I'm a nerd, man.
You are.
I'm a nerd. I love it. And our industry is lit up since we came out of the pandemic with tech. I mean, in every shape and form. And for me, I want us talking about AI this year.
And let me I'm going to interrupt you because you've been talking to me about AI for months. I think it was sometime last year. And for me, being at my level, I'm like, okay, a Google search engine, I type it in or whatever. And I had the ability to be in your office last week when you actually showed me what AI really is and how it can relate to our industry and how we can be better and safer and more productive. Blew me away. Right. Absolutely blew me away. And I am still, now I'm consciously incompetent. I know that I don't know that much about it, but I know what it's about and it excites me. I cannot wait to learn more about this. For sure.
And we're seeing it everywhere. We have some great friends in the industry, and this is a call out, John Chapman.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, we're talking AI this year. We're going to help people get there to understand how this is going to change the world. We are in the next revolution, whether you like it or not. We're going to we've got a lot of VR partners we want to bring in, talk about how that's changing the training world as a whole. That may be some of the topics we bring in. Jimmy, I'll tell you who I want, all the buzz in the industry, man. We need to talk to ZVAC. There's tech beyond I'm not just talking about writing code. I'm talking there's technology changes that have changed our industry, and we need to have some of those folks on the show. So again, calling you out. We're here. Let's talk about it.
I like it.
Yeah. And Jimmy, I know you have some goals as well. You mentioned it in our presentation in Alabama about a challenge that was pointed at you by one of our employees here. Do you want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was called out, and rightfully so, by Bryson Isbell, one of our directors, and we were going through an exercise, and he was like, no, we don't need the nuts and bolts of it, Jimmy. What we really need, we need what's in your head, what you've experienced over your career in the energy industry. If we can just get a glimpse of that, that'll help us with the nuts and bolts, help us with the process, help us with the flow, help us understand. And, I always say that, we need to impart and share this knowledge that we have. I wish we could stick a jump drive in and then pass on, and we can't. So I've challenged myself this year to share more of that knowledge as much as I can and to be proactive about it. And it is, we're getting to this part where we have so many new folks in this new generation entering our industry. And I don't want them to make the same mistakes. Let them learn from other mistakes so they don't repeat them, and they can accelerate their path forward, safer and more productive. And if we can do that, then I will continue to be happy, because that's what we need to do. That's what I need to do, and that's a quest of mine this year.
Yeah, we need to scratch that itch for sure. That's a good one. Another goal of ours is, honestly, we're going to bring back some of those thought leaders that are championing our industry. And some of them, we'll bring up some of our old friends and probably some new faces as well. I can already envision, we were joking about some episodes, not joking, but how easy some of these episodes would be with some of these folks that we've had on before, like the Steve Allens of the world. We'll
the Jeff Weisses, the Jim Francises, the
Colonel,
Colonel,
having everybody on talking leadership and spreading. How better can you explain knowledge transfer than having a group like that together, talking shop? I bet we'll have Big Stu on.
Big Stu Salters from APGA.
Salters, man,
he's shy. He won't come on.
He hardly gets around this industry, doesn't he? Good friends over there at APGA. I'm sure we'll have those folks on. This is a challenge for our industry, I think, is what better way to find out what we need to be talking about than from you? And so if you've got an idea, help us shape our goals for this season, reach out to us. We're going to provide some kind of professional development in there too. I'm sure there'll be some kind of series we kick off to help people get a certain something out of who they are. But let us know if you've got something you want us to talk about. We'd love to get into it. Jimmy, as we kind of ramp down, as sadly as that sounds, I do want to travel back a little bit to that Alabama PSC or that conference in particular, where we
travel.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit more, and us co-presenting that keynote there. I think it was a moment. You talked to me after, and you were like, "I don't know that I've ever felt like that," you know. And I don't know if it was the level of preparation, the comfort level of the content, you know, because it was about our story, about the show, you know, something so easy, or if it was just a perfect storm of all those things. But I could tell for you that it landed.
It absolutely landed. And I'll tell you what hit my head, and I had to think about it for a while, but you know, a lot of times when I tell folks that I'm in the energy industry and, you know, decades and pipelines and blah, 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 and drill pads, you know, people think that's a rough and tough industry and blah, blah, blah. And to get to the point where we're giving a keynote in our industry about quote unquote culture and thought leadership, and people like, love, admire it, are learning from it. To me, it was like, euphoric, and that's an exciting part where we're at. And I love this industry that we're in, and I'm just so excited and I'm being very serious about using the term excited, to see that adoption and people really gravitating towards it and wanting to learn about it, and not just the 20 to 35-year-old generation, but people of my generation are saying, boy, there's something to that. You know, there's something neat and cool about that. That to me is,
you know, it's the Bobby Pervins out there that come up to us after, that we'll have on the show, you know, this year as well.
Yeah.
That are like, this is what I'm doing at my organization. And you high five each other because you're like, I see you, man. Like, I see what you're talking about. We're living that right now, you know? And even when it's bad, like the goods and the bad, like you see other people that come up going, you just told our story. Like, living that right now, and it hurts. And I'm like, I see you, man. I see you. You can make that difference. So I love it. For me there, I'll tell you, I know the amount of prep that we put into it.
Yep.
And that always makes me comfortable. The most comfortable is being prepped and ready. Like, it's really good for me. That's good for my mental health.
Okay? Oh, that's who you are. I fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
right?
And that's cool, right? Yeah. But mixing those was something we had to work on, right?
Yeah.
Like, I probably over prepped you, but you saw into why that was important to me and how it translated, right? Like, we were crisp in it. The part of it that really knocked it out of the park for me was our ability to go back and get the portions of the show that told the story. So in other words, for the first time, we were able to use the show snippets and other things in, well, for the second time, because we did it in another one. You just weren't there, sorry. But being able to use that collateral now and have other people tell that story was amazing. We went back. There's a portion of it. I love this portion. I'm not gloating. I just love this portion. Is when we pulled all the final questions, as far as leave it, you can't leave it behind, right? Like, what do you want to leave the world with, right?
Yeah.
And
give it all away.
Give it all away. And it rattles it all off. And like, it made me emotional standing in front of that group of 400 people, listening to these people tell that story. And it was our show.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that right there is what we're doing. And that's what that presentation is. It tells the story of the show, but really it's telling our story of thought leadership and how EWN empowered us to be able to do that. And it was an unlikely form that no one else was doing at the time, that we stepped out and we were given permission to fall on our face at times, but we got out there and did it and created a place that nobody else wanted to be in necessarily. And it was a form of thought leadership.
Yes.
And it's a hell of a story.
And it feeds into our quest for 2023 that I think you and I both said that we would like to do the same type of presentation 4, 5, 6 times at company events or at associations or trade events, whatever the case may be. We want to continue with that because honestly, I think it's part of being brave. And I think some people are like, okay, you guys do it. We'll come and attend. We'll have you at our at our conference, but we don't want to do it. You guys do it,
right.
And I think I'm excited for 2023 from that aspect. I want to do more live, and I think the outcome will be great. You mentioned something though, James, that the part of that segment though was the questions, that we asked in 2022. It was, you can give it all away. I think we have some ideas for a 2023 question.
Are we going to try it on for size, huh?
I think I'm going to try it on you for size because you know me, I'm a little shy and timid. So if I were to ask you, James, what do you want to be when you grow up? How would you react and what would you answer to that question? What do you want to be when you grow up, James?
What do I want to be when I grow up? So anybody close to me probably knows this answer, kind of the joke answer, and then I'll qualify it. The joke answer, but not so much of a joke, is I will be selling barbecue on a boat. All right, we need to normalize food boats. Okay, if you're out in a party cove or you're out fishing hard in a bass tournament and a boat rolled up that smelled like barbecue and sold you tacos, would you buy it?
Hell yeah!
All right, so say less,
Heck
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to be when I grow up. But if I reduce that down, it's, I'm happy that I probably own a donkey that I don't need also if I have a food boat, like I'm just saying that it's more about the mindset of where I'm at that point. If I'm doing that, I'm probably living my best life. And it's not saying I'm not now, but we all have something we want to be when we grow up, right? I hope.
Yeah.
I hope we do.
Absolutely.
And it changes as we move up, so when I'm a little kid, it's a fireman or, whatever magical thing that I aspire to be. And then as I figure things out, that changes. And then as I figure things out, that changes, and it's an evolution. So I'd be selling tacos on a food boat.
That's cool, man. I can see you doing that. The big green egg floating along.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, Matt, figure it out, man. Can you make me a floatable big green egg and I could just kayak with it on the front, maybe a little mini or something. We'll workshop that. Maybe we'll talk about that this year. Jimmy, fine. If you're going to try it on for size, what does Jim Shower want to be when he grows up?
Oh, honestly, I love our industry. I love what I'm doing and the paths and all that, and have zero plans of ever leaving our industry. And so I think in 12, 14 years, when I somewhat retire from the industry, I want to head up an association. That's going to be something that I'm going to do. I will do that. So
that's awesome.
I don't know what type, whether it's a state association or a regional or whatever, but I am going to lean in heavily when I grow up or down the road, because I believe in associations. I believe in everything that they bring to our industry, from the education to the training to the conferences to everything. Yeah. And me at conferences, I have lifelong friends that I've met at conferences over the last decades. And conferences are something that are near and dear to my heart. And I will be a leader of an association.
You'll be that guy, man. You'll be that guy that never retires and still shows up for work on Monday. Well,
Yep.
I can
Yep.
still drink coffee here, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I was worried you were going to say a podcaster, and this was it. So that worked out a lot better.
Man, this is fun for now.
So the comedy in it, Jimmy, is I wonder if anybody made it to this point of the podcast, you know, to hear the final question. They would know the final question this season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
This is the teacher that puts the note down at the bottom, you know, do this one thing and you'll get 100, you know, that nobody ever reads.
Yeah. Well, if there's anybody left on this podcast right now, I'll throw out a personal challenge as we wind down. If you like what we do, and if you gain anything out of it, and if you think it could be of help to somebody, just spread the word. Just spread, just share it with one person.
The best marketing is when somebody says, "I don't know if you've ever heard of."
Word of mouth.
Yeah. Spread the word, my friends. Man,
Please.
so proud to be back for season 4.
Jeez.
They can't shake us. They can't shake us. Hey, y'all let us know what we can do for you.
Please.
God bless.
Have a great day.
Oh, is it the same music? Oh, what if it's not?
I don't know. We got to see.
Season 4.